Guys, today's video is going to be a demonstration, setup, tutorial kind of, and a review of the Eastar 16-inch 3-piece child's drum set, which you can get on Amazon. There'll be a link below. They did send the kit to me for free, full disclosure. However, they're not paying me to do this review, so I'm going to be fairly honest in it. And just as a warm-up to the review, it's pretty good for what it is, I think. It actually holds together nicely and it sounds okay. It's not a real drum set, so there's a caveat there. But you'll see how it goes, so stick with me. Right.
I'm watching.
A cymbal, that's right. Top of the throne. A tom.
The drum set.
Hoop for the kick.
Drum set.
Other hoop for the kick. And what I assume is a box of hardware. Hi guys, today we're going to be taking a look at the Eastar 16-inch 3-piece drum set. This is available on Amazon and I'll have a link in the description below. But basically the first step is I have to assemble it. Because the first piece I pulled out here is the 10-inch tom, and it has 4 lugs and of course a mounting bracket on there, and it is already fully assembled. I've tuned it a little bit, as you can hear. Sounds like a tom. Okay, the next thing I got out here is the snare drum. It is also 10-inch, but it's 10 by 4, where the tom is 10 by 6. Okay, I've tuned up the snare a little bit, and it sounds semi-snare-like. Probably the best I'm going to get. Okay, so then the third piece of the 3-piece kit is this kick drum. It's 16 inches diameter by 11 inches in depth. It has, of course, a cymbal mount, and a tom mount, and a couple of spur mounts on it. And you get 2 hoops, and you get 2 heads. These heads come with 2 different logos on them. This one is a thinner head than this one, so I'm assuming this is the batter head and this is the resin head. And we're going to see if that works out for me. You basically mount the head on like this, pop a rim on. You have to get a tension rod, a washer, and this claw, and you hook the claw onto the hoop and you drop it into the lug. I've got the batter head attached with all the claws and the hoop here. And basically the reason I decided to put the batter head on this side is because I looked and you see the tom mount and the cymbal mount, and I want my tom probably in front of my cymbal. So I've decided that this side would be the batter side, meaning the bottom side right now is going to be the resonant side, which of course means you use the pedal on this side, and this side is what's going to face out towards the audience. So while I'm attaching this resonant side hoop, I'll mention it does come with a drum key in the package, so if you didn't have one or buying this for a kid who didn't own one, there you go. And basically another reason that I think this should be the resonant side and that this should be the batter side now is that the spur mounts, which are these 2 here, are always going to be closer to the resonant side in a normal kick drum setup. So if you put the batter side here and the resonant over here, these would then be on the wrong end. Okay, got it headed up. So now the next step is to take these 2 spurs and mount them up into the corresponding holes. Spurs, of course, if you didn't know, were to keep the drum from rolling around, obviously because it's going to sit on its side and it's round, so it'll be a problem otherwise. Okay, so now that we've got the bass drum stable, I'm going to go ahead and put in the tom arm and then the cymbal arm, and that is the complete setup kick drum. The next thing I'm going to put together is this throne, which comes in 3 pieces. You have your seat, you have the height adjustment post, and you have the bass. So I'm assuming this will be obvious. Just going to put out the bass to flat position like this. We're going to drop in this height adjustment tube. The screw should sit down in the notch in the base here, like this. And then we'll put the top on for sitting. Be more comfortable this way. I'm going to adjust that, and there you go. And the adjustment actually has 3 positions here, if you can see that. 1, 2, 3, so it's at the middle one now. And of course it could go even lower if you just took the screw out entirely and drop it all the way to the bottom. Next thing we have to set up is the snare drum stand, which comes in 2 pieces. It's the old school style stand where the arms are kind of floppy, but that's okay. I don't think it's going to get that much abuse. So similarly, we're just going to set up this tripod base here so it's stable. Slide in the snare basket to the top tube, and we're going to secure the top, and now the snare drum can sit in here. I'm going to do a little adjustment on the size, which there's a screw down here where you can adjust this piece. I think it's going to need to be, yeah, just about as big as it goes. So that means it could actually go smaller, which is crazy, but not really any bigger. If you tighten that up, it's pretty sturdy. You could play that. This is the lowest that it goes, although you can adjust the bass flatter and get it a little lower. It would also, of course, go quite a bit higher, I think. The final thing that's going to need to be assembled here is the bass drum pedal. It comes in 2 pieces, the main assembly and then, of course, the beater. And we're going to need to just stick this in here, but first we'll pull out the heel piece so that that's not awkwardly underneath. This comes with a standard felt beater. It's pretty hard though. Of course, you just slide it into the top. All right, so here we are on now the batter head side of the kick drum, and we're just going to attach the bass drum pedal to it. So typically you're going to have on any bass drum pedal a little claw-like device that seats the hoop into it here, and then you're going to slide it onto the hoop of the bass drum. And of course we'll tighten it up. Okay, so that's pretty secure on there. One thing I'm noticing, the bass drum pedal doesn't actually make it to the head without extreme difficulty in this configuration. So I'm going to have to work on adjusting this to figure out why. I figured it out, so I just lengthened the spurs on the sides here a little longer so it would tilt the bass drum back. It makes this have to go a shorter distance slightly. Nothing about this pedal is adjustable, so I couldn't do it from there. Basically now it will make a sound. And I think this should be obvious, this part here, but just to mount the tom, you're just going to slide the tom into the hole. And you tighten the screw, and there you go. Okay, so I have the cymbal, which I think is brass. It looks like it's been lathed on this side, but it is unlathed on this side, completely unhammered, but it's brass, so I don't think it makes a difference, really. It just goes on this back post here, and of course you put a felt on. There's a little washer here and a wing nut, so of course it gets held between the felts. And it can only be mounted flat, there's no tilt adjustment. So here we are set up in playing condition. It's obviously way too small for me, but I'm going to see what I can do. We're in my dining room because my drum room is too small to set up another kit in right now. It does come with 2 pairs of sticks in the box, which is cool, Eastar branded. You get a full-size pair and a sort of 2/3 size pair. Go. one thing, it does not come with a hi-hat or a hi-hat stand or anything of that nature. This is what you get. It sounds okay for being so tiny. I think you could probably tune the kick up to be more in a jazz range. This is sort of as rock tuned as I could get it. The snare drum is not going to sound much different no matter what you do to it. That's what you get. And then of course the cymbal sort of works as a crash, but it's very one-dimensional because it's a tiny brass cymbal. So there's that. Just wanted to show you one cool thing on this drum set. It actually comes with a memory lock right here. So this tab right here fits into this slot, right here on the mount. So you can kind of slide that in there, and then you can use your drum key to tighten that down. And that way it helps prevent this tom from twisting. Also, if you were to take the tom off and then you want to get it back in exactly the same spot, you just line up that tab again, and that's precisely the spot and angle where it was taken off from. Okay, and then I want to show you the snare mechanism in a little bit more detail. You can kind of see there's a knob on the outside, and then on the inside here you can see there's like a little half-size strainer, and it presses against what is the batter head in there. And of course this is just a close-up of what the badge looks like. The drums do come with vent holes, and you can see the bass drum claws up close here, and it comes with these little like teardrop lugs. I mean, it's pretty cool looking. It's interesting that it's blue sparkle. I didn't pick out the color, that's just what they sent to me. And I have two other blue sparkle kits, neither of which did I really pick out per se for the color. So it just seems like I am fated by the drum gods to always have blue sparkle kits for some reason. So here's the quick review portion of the video. Basically there's some pros, there's some cons. It's a very specific product for a specific market, so you'd only want to buy it if you have that need. So what I think that need is either a toy for someone who's not serious about playing at all, basically a small child who just wants to hit something, or it could be a teaching instrument for a small child only if you upgrade it a little bit. So it's obviously not for adults, but it's also not serious. It's not junk. It's actually pretty well built, but it's definitely more of a toy and less of an instrument. Now, so some pros that I see on it, which are great. The 2-ply head on the bass drum is a nice touch. The coated head on the snare is a nice touch. I think that it holds together and everything's adjustable, which is pretty cool. The throne is pretty nice. I put my 170-pound frame on it, and it easily held me up the entire time, didn't feel wobbly, so that was pretty cool. And it has those memory locks, that's pretty awesome. The cons being the cymbal doesn't sound very good. The snare drum with that internal strainer mechanism doesn't sound very good. And it doesn't come with a hi-hat or a hi-hat stand of any kind, of any quality. It just doesn't have one. So that's an issue if you're trying to teach a kid how to legitimately play the drums. You're going to miss that hi-hat and you're going to need to add that on. But if you're just playing as a toy, then it's fine, it doesn't matter. It does require assembly to put together, but if you've ever used drums before, it's pretty obvious, there's nothing weird, and it comes with its own drum key so you can tune it up, and that's a pro, right? So that's pretty cool. It does seem like you could get a pretty good tuning range out of it. The tom and the kick do sound okay, considering like I didn't have any of them muffled or anything. And overall, like you could do just a couple tweaks and get it to be a kit that you could teach a kid to play the drums on. One minor other note is that my 4-year-old tried to play it. She had fun, but she had a really hard time pushing the bass drum pedal. It's too stiff for someone like under 5 probably to play reliably. And then of course if you get up to the 7 or 8-year-old range, you might actually physically just be too big for the kit. So it's probably like a 5 to 7-year-old who's going to be primarily using this thing, just so you know. So it has pros, it has cons. I think it actually looks pretty cool. It's well built for what it is, and it comes with everything you need to just play except a hi-hat. So that's my review. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.